Paris promises croissants, fashion and the good life, but for millions of French workers, the middle-class dream just vanished in silence. A master's degree now means pocketing €1,940 a month, barely more than minimum wage. Factories are shuttered, rural clinics are overcrowded, and even painkillers had to be imported when COVID hit. How did a nation celebrated for its luxury and social model become a pressure cooker of lost ambition, vanishing jobs, and public service collapse? The answer rewrites everything you think you know about modern France and about what could come next. Claire starts her month with a master's degree and a net salary of €1,940. On paper, that sounds like a ticket to the good life. But after her rent clears €1,300 for a shoebox studio in Paris, she is left with €640. Groceries swallow another €300, utilities and transport another €200. Student loans, phone and insurance nibble away the rest. By the time the month is half over, her bank app flashes red. Saving for a holiday or even a rainy day is out of the question. Across France, over 17% of workers earn the minimum wage. SMIC, just €1,400 net per month. The gap between Claire, with her years of study and responsibility, and a minimum wage shelf stocker is just €550. In the United States, the difference between minimum and median pay is a chasm. In France, it is a rounding error. Claire manages a team, juggles deadlines and answers to 3 bosses. But after taxes and rent, her reward is barely enough to keep the lights on. She is not alone. For millions, the so-called middle class is just a paycheck away from the bottom rung. Why climb higher when the view barely changes? Mark stands in front of the old factory gates, hands in his pockets, staring at a building that once gave his town a reason to exist. The machines inside have not run in years. In the 1980s, manufacturing made up a fifth of France's economy. Today, it's barely 10%. Germany nearly doubles that share. Even Italy and Poland do better. The Paris elite declared factories outdated, betting the country's future on luxury handbags and tourist selfies. Mark's town was left with shuttered shops, a shrinking school and a doctor who retired without replacement. The Yellow Vest protest lit up the headlines in 2018, but for Mark and his neighbours, burning toll booths was less about politics and more about survival. When the last bakery closed, the heart of the town went with it. The promise was that services and tourism would fill the gap. Instead, the gap widened. France became the world's #1 tourist destination, but you cannot build a middle class on waiters and tour guides. Then came the paracetamol panic. In early 2020, as COVID swept through, pharmacies ran out of basic painkillers. 80% of France's paracetamol was imported from India and China. The country that once invented the vaccine found itself begging for aspirin. For Mark, it was the moment the illusion shattered. A nation that forgot how to make things now could not even fill a medicine cabinet. Dr. Sophie unlocks her clinic door at 7 a.m. By noon, the waiting room is standing room only. She sees 70 patients a day, double what she managed a decade ago. In rural France, she is the last general practitioner for 40 kilometers. The phone rings off the hook, parents desperate for a checkup. Elderly patients needing prescriptions, new arrivals searching for anyone who will take them. The numerous clauses, a decades-old quota on medical school places, kept doctor numbers low. Now, 1 in 4 rural towns has no general practitioner at all. 12 million French adults do not have a family doctor. With nowhere else to go, patients flood emergency rooms. There, waits stretch past 10, even 20 hours during winter surges. Nurses triage in hallways, and some patients give up and leave. Classrooms fare no better. Teacher shortages have forced the government to hire thousands of unqualified staff just to keep schools open. In 2024, over 5,000 new recruits lacked full certification. In the poorest districts, 1 in 5 teachers has no formal training. Qualified educators burn out and quit, while students cycle through substitutes. The promise was world-class services in exchange for high taxes. Instead, families face crumbling clinics and patchwork classrooms. For those without money to go private, the social contract is just another broken promise. A French company wants to pay an employee 60,000 euros. Before a single euro reaches their pocket, the state takes its cut. Employer social charges swallow nearly a third, dropping the gross salary to around 43,000 euros. Then come employee contributions, social security, unemployment and health insurance, carving it down to about 33,000 euros net. And that is before income tax. By the time the money lands in a bank account, almost half has vanished. France has the highest tax burden in the OECD, extracting between 45 and 48% of GDP every year. The money does not go to new bridges or a modern army. Over a third of national output, 32 to 34%, funnels into social protection, into pensions, healthcare and unemployment. The rest struggles to cover interest on a debt mountain now at 113% of GDP. For 50 years, France has not passed a balanced budget. Every government, left, right or centre, spends more than it takes in as budgets tighten, pay raises become rare and the private sector finds itself squeezed between rising charges and shrinking margins. The result? Pay packets stagnate, services deteriorate, and the fiscal engine runs hotter on borrowed fuel. Borrowed is the right word. France's retirement system runs on a simple rule: today's workers pay for today's retirees. In the 1960s, 4 workers funded each pensioner. Now that number has collapsed to just 1.7. The math is relentless. Every month, fewer paychecks are stretched to cover more pension checks, and the gap keeps widening. As baby boomers exit the workforce, there are not enough young workers to fill their shoes or to fill the treasury. The government's answer in 2023 was to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. The response was instant and furious. Streets filled with hundreds of thousands, trains halted and trash piled up in Paris. Riots broke out across the country with tear gas, burning barricades and riot police, clashing with crowds waving union flags. The anger was not just about 2 extra years. It was about a promise slipping away, a sense of betrayal that the social contract had quietly broken. For the young, the message was clear: you will work longer, pay more, and get less. For the old, it felt like the ground shifting beneath their feet. The pension time bomb keeps ticking and the fuse is burning fast. Each year, tens of thousands of France's brightest pack their diplomas and head for the exits. The numbers are staggering: 2.5 to 3 million French citizens now live abroad, many of them engineers, scientists and business graduates trained at elite schools. The calculus is simple. In Paris, a young professional might earn 45,000 euros a year and see half of it vanish in taxes, then be squeezed into a tiny flat with no hope of quick advancement. In California or Zurich, that same talent can triple their salary, keep more of it, and skip the 15-year wait for a promotion. Goldman Sachs in London, Google in Zurich, Montreal's AI labs. French names fill the rosters. The country that once prided itself on world-class education now subsidizes the global tech boom, while homegrown innovation withers. No French Google, no Amazon. Even Moderna's CEO is French, but the vaccines and the profits are made in the United States. Station F in Paris buzzes with startup dreams, but it is a rare oasis in a desert of missed opportunity. The canary in the coal mine is not just gasping. It has already flown to Silicon Valley. France's loss is the world's gain, but the warning is clear. When ambition leaves, decline follows. Today, France spends €1 for every 87 cents it collects, while its middle class shrinks behind a luxury facade. These numbers aren't just French, they are spreading across the West. The illusion holds for now, but eventually the bill comes due. What happens when the future stops paying for the past?